Etepu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Haru Nefer, may Buddha bless you, Grand Rising. This is Qesankh Keperu with another exciting video for you. In this video, I'm going to talk about how social media censorship is alive and well. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. And if you're interested in knowing more about my spiritual teachings, you can scroll down and click on one of the 4 links below, which will allow you to download the ebook right away and start reading. It's free. However, if that's not enough for you and you want to follow that rabbit all the way down the rabbit hole, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. You'll get exclusive access to instructional videos, videos on the esoteric, videos that will teach you how to meditate, proper breathing exercises, how to astral project, ways to calm yourself using the technique of Meneb and Ankh and Ma'at. And if you are an Asir level supporter, you'll get all your Oracle readings for free. So become a Patreon supporter. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so we can get the revolution started. So Haru Nefer, I arrived in Colombia safely. My flight was excellent. I have nothing to complain about. Actually, I got a better deal this time, meaning before I had to take 3 planes. This time I only took 2 planes, and the trip was less than 8 hours because it just drives me crazy to be sitting down for such a long time. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the social media platforms, but before I do that, I just want to say that the people in this hotel have been giving me excellent service. In fact, I got this really cool salad. And it's a combination of like a garden salad and a fruit salad because there's a lot of fruit in it. Tastes kind of fruity. And I had to compliment them. I said, listen, man, this salad is really great. I don't like sweet stuff too much, so it's a little sweet, but that's okay, you know? But it has like almonds, orange, and strawberry slices, different types of lettuce and spinach. And what else is in here? Of course, you have tomatoes and things of that nature, but it's really good. So I am a salad aficionado. I like to try different garden salads from different places. But anyway, so this is a really nice hotel. I was complimenting them, and I think he's one of the managers of the hotel had informed me that it's actually new. It's a new hotel. And I was able to get a room with a terrace. And immediately, when the gentleman took me into the room to show me around, the curtains were open, and I just saw the most beautiful view of the city. It was I got in late, so it was night, and the lights were lit up, and the city looked so beautiful. I was just that view alone. I was impressed. I was like, wow. So my Spanish is broken. So it's been a bit of a challenge communicating in terms of, like I was telling the waitress down at the restaurant that I don't eat anything with meat or fish or milk. And then she was like, oh, so she was typing on her translator. So you're vegan? I was like, yeah. And we were laughing and everything. And we both had our translators, and we were going back and forth because I was going over the menu of what I can eat and what I cannot eat, you know. So the chef made something special for me because everything basically had meat or fish in it, you know. The one thing I was close to getting, she informed me had anchovies. I said, oh, no, I don't want that. But anyway, so I'm going to basically be making some more broadcasts to just to show you around Colombia. I did some videos before when I was here, but this time I'm going to go to a new location so you can get a little bit more of a view of the layout and what are the hot spots for tourists. So be on the lookout for those up and coming videos. I have planned to go out this afternoon, but I heard this really loud noise, and I was like, "What is that?" I mean, I didn't know, like, is that explosion? I don't know. Artillery, like, what the heck was that? It turns out to be thunder, and it started raining. I said, well, I'm not going out tonight, you know? I said, but so it presents me the perfect opportunity to make a video, you know? And one of the things I wanted to really address was I found out yesterday that Facebook had suspended my account. And, you know, I did a reading on it, and it was very suspicious because the last time they suspended my account was when the Woman King came out, and I was really like communicating with individuals on Facebook and telling them about the agenda, what the film's really about, what it's trying to push. And this time I was talking about Black Panther and how bad the movie was and how detrimental it is for people who are ADOS, FBA, or freedmen. If you don't know what those terms are, please look them up. And I was getting a lot of pushback from people. Some are very ignorant people who would go to my profile and say, you know, one girl said, I just want to look at your profiles. I can tell you have issues. I'm like, really? Well, I didn't say anything back to her, but I was like, well, anybody who goes to somebody's profile and starts to peruse it has nothing else to do in their life, you know, because I don't go like perusing people's profiles and coming back saying you have issues. How do you determine that? You know, are you a psychologist? But the one thing that we have to be cognizant about is that these so-called movies by Marvel, by Disney, are not entertainment. They're not movies. They're propaganda. And in my opinion, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever is so full of propaganda that it's to me on the level of a Nazi propaganda film. These movies are designed to create a wedge between Black men and Black females, or Black women, excuse me. And it's designed to create more strife, more problems in our relationship. And this is the agenda. You see, they want to do a number of things, but the ultimate goal is not to just destroy the Black family, but is to do role reversal and introduce Satanism. So what they want is to legitimize pedophilia, to create a non-binary society, to create sexual exploitation. And the only way they can do this is by getting rid of those groups who stand in their way, which is men. Now, notice I said men. I don't say Black men, white men, because the agenda that they are unleashing on the ADOS, freedmen, FBA community is the same agenda they're unleashing on the white community, which is to try and break down and destroy white men. And they're doing this via movies, entertainment, what they call entertainment, but it's really propaganda. And they know that they probably can't do too much or have that much of an influence with the current generation, so they want to attack the kids. And the best way they can groom these kids and socially engineer them is through these superhero films. And just recently, I heard individuals in the white community who were at the forefront of this, because they caught on very quick, only now admit that there's a conspiracy, a concerted effort by all the studios to do this. And I said this a long time ago, and I tried to plead with them and said, because they noticed it with the Star Wars franchise, and I said, and who's head of Lucasfilm today is Kathleen Kennedy. I said, it's not Kathleen Kennedy who's pushing this agenda. This is above her. She's getting her marching orders from the oligarchy. She has no choice but to institute it. And now they're finally admitting that it's very peculiar that all the studios are coming together to push this agenda. And what is this agenda? Is to role reversal, get rid of the man as the head of the house, to make him seem imbecilic, inept, stupid, incompetent, and to put the woman up on a pedestal to make her seem smart, masculine, intelligent, super intelligent, I should say, because women are already intelligent, but super intelligent, far beyond a man, intellectual capabilities. And if they can do this, especially with the younger generation, it will have such a profound influence that it will set us up to be taken over by the so-called New World Order. Because there'll be no masculine men to defend the family, to defend the nation. And they do want to bring down the nation, because when they bring down this nation, they'll come along, as David Icke will say, with the totalitarian tiptoe, which is offer a solution. Well, you know, this is all coming to an end, it's crumbling down. Well, we have a solution. It's going to be a one world government. And you give up your rights, we'll ensure that your family structure survives, which is just a ruse to take away all your rights. And at the head of this is social media platforms. And this is why they have censored me when I began to talk about the Woman King, when I began to talk about Black Panther, because I know African traditional religions. And I can tell you by looking at Black Panther that that's not right. This is incorrect. But you have two sets of people that stand in our way. There's these so-called woke Black feminist women who hate Black men. They never focus their energies on white men for the atrocity that they've done during slavery. But they focus their hatred on Black men. And the justification is that Black men have pushed the patriarchy, which is no way in shape. Black men are not in any positions of power to institute a patriarchy. So these Black men are becoming their villains. The other part of this are the so-called simps, or the weak, and they are weak Black men who side with this feminist in order to get laid, to get pussy, to get brownie points, to get butter biscuits. And these simps and these extreme Black female feminists create that buffer so that the attack cannot be launched against the true archetypes, or architects of this insidious plan, which are behind the scenes, the oligarchy, which is these white men. The feminist movement was created by men to serve an evil and insidious purpose, to weaken masculinity, to weaken men. This is why you don't see images of Rambo or Rocky anymore. They've instituted these things called toxic masculinity, which they have directly associated with Black men. They have caused friction between black men and black women, all the while sitting back watching the fight as the puppeteers, the wizards behind the curtain. And then when you look at these sick movies disguised as entertainment, like The Woman King, a film that idolizes slave traders, murderers, and savages, anyone with common sense or anyone that can Google will be able to see the true history of the Dahomey, the Mino women, which are slave traders. But you have your Viola Davis, who are agents, take the bag and go ahead and take part in this propaganda, which destroys our community, which incites hatred in black women toward black men, fueling the flames. And when you point these facts out on social media, as I have done, you not only get attacked by the buffer class, but these platforms suspend your account. And I tell Facebook, I have not engaged in any conflict. These individuals have come to my profile, my page, and have attacked me, created memes about me, and I'm just defending myself. In the process of defending myself, they say that I was engaged in bullying. And it so happens that they've done it twice. First with The Woman King, to keep me from telling the truth about that film. And then now with Black Panther, to keep me from spreading the word about what that film is really about, which is not a celebration of Black Panther, because Black Panther is not in the movie. Let me say this. If you think as a woman that you're going to come against some man and be his equal in a combat situation, you are deluded. When I was studying martial arts, we had another competitive, oh no, it wasn't a competitive school, but it was these football players who were studying martial arts came to our school as part of like a student exchange. And it was a friendly match. So we were doing sparring. And I told my teacher, I want to spar that big football player guy, who I think was a yellow belt at the time. And he was like, sure. And I remember going up to him and we started to spar. And I threw a round kick and kicked him in the ribs. And that was one of my best kicks. And I think at the time I was maybe 150 and he was probably around 200. And I consider my kicks very powerful. And he was about my height. And I remember that was my best kick, and it did not faze him one bit. And at that point, I stopped and said, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I knew I was in trouble. And I began to have more of a respect for skill with mass. So when these movies come along and make it seem like women are throwing around guys who are twice their size, don't drink the Kool-Aid. It's not going to happen. And many of the women that are going to see Black Panther know the truth. And this is what I have an issue with: selfishness. But are so selfish and self-centered, they don't care what the agenda is. They only care that they look like a boss chick or a boss bitch, and that they're getting some butter biscuits. When in reality, it's destroying our communities. Black Panther 2 is laden with so much propaganda on the surface. And I haven't even begun to delve deeply into the subliminal messages that it's communicating. And the studios have gotten so comfortable and arrogant that they're just putting the message on the surface. And I've said this for a long time now. Much of the reasons why we're in the condition that we're in, meaning oppressed, is partially our own fault. Partially. Because we support our own demise. You must take a stand against that which is wrong, a hard line. You do not support propaganda like The Woman King, Black Panther 2. And the media will throw out more propaganda and lies. I documented how they were lying about how The Woman King was breaking a box office record. The Woman King is a huge failure. And Black Panther 2 will be a huge failure too. But they're pumping up the propaganda when it comes to Black women to feed your ego, to blow your head up, to make you seem as if you're rocking and rolling at the behest of the white oligarchy. They are pushing you to the forefront. They're setting you up for a big fall. And you too, so-called simps who go along with this to gain favor from these Black women because you've probably not gotten laid for a while. I don't mean that as a hit at you or to make you feel bad. I'm just stating the truth. And one of the worst communities inside the Black community that all of you should avoid is Black nationalist individuals, are the so-called Hoteppers. They are the worst of the worst. They go around and preach one thing and do the exact opposite. They're living in the past of quoting Garvey and Malcolm X while not upholding their principles. Talking about why you do business with white people. I've seen you with white people. Well, Malcolm X, when he came from Mecca, had a whole different view of white people. He no longer called them devils, he said. He understood them to be our brothers and sisters, those who would fight for truth. But you see, these social media platforms don't want the truth out there. So they prop up those individuals who are causing separation, like women who are talking about aborting black male babies. They'll have their channels alive and well. And the algorithms will push their channel out there to get more subs. While individuals who are talking about the agents who are creating this rift get shadow banned. When black men say, hey, it's not cool to talk about aborting babies, because since 1973, there have been over 20 million abortions. So let's stop this so we can increase our numbers, so that other minority groups don't become the dominant minority group over us. And most of them have. We've allowed white women to be categorized as a minority and receive all the benefits. We've allowed the LGBTQ communities, the Asian communities, to receive government funding. We've allowed Mexicans to immigrate into this country, and in some instances receive preferential treatment. Now, if you're thinking that I'm being negative about certain groups here, then you need to squash that junk. I'm not. I'm just stating to you the truth. There's nothing wrong with being for your people first, whether you're Asian, Latino. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem that we have gotten into as Black people is not putting our agenda first, becoming involved in the wrong platforms or agendas. And our minds are so twisted and confused that we literally support the policies that are to our detriment. We literally do things that make no sense, that progress us in no way, shape, or form, but then we try to justify it in some strange, weird, warped way. Our freedom and liberation is not rocket science. We can have it if we stop sabotaging our own efforts, if we stop siding with the oppressor. If you want to be a part of the trans or LGBTQ community, do it. But make sure that you're Black first. Don't put that agenda, that party's agenda, ahead of your people. Don't put the fact that you're a Black female, a female, ahead of the fact that you are Black. And that your loyalty rests within the Black community. Don't be stupid enough to think that because you side with feminists, you're going to get the same level of benefits as a white feminist woman. It's not going to happen. And they use that ploy to indoctrinate you into their movement. These women that have gone out there on social media platforms and advocated for the death of Black men and the death of unborn Black male babies have not been shut down on the social media platforms. They haven't. YouTube, Facebook pushes them out there to get more friends and more subs. It's a very racist agenda, a very destructive agenda. Many people don't remember Nate Parker's film, Birth of a Nation, an excellent film. But the Black feminists made sure that it would go nowhere because they attacked it. And the mainstream media attacked it as well. But did the mainstream media attack the Woman King for being inaccurate, being false? No. It lied and supported that film because they have an agenda to destroy the Black community. Make no mistake, they want our population to be reduced. If they had it their way, they can wipe us off this face of this planet. And I am so tired of their intervention. We cannot make progress because every time you turn around, they're doing redlining, keeping us out of jobs, police brutality, promoting Black men as villains in movies and TV, shaming us into voting for politicians that are not out for our best interests. Every time we try to get something together in our communities, they come up with a scheme to thwart us, introducing crack into the Black communities, introducing guns and weapons, changing the laws to lock us up, keeping us from gainful employment, keeping us from getting government programs, keeping us from reparations. Keeping Black men unemployed while giving Black women all types of benefits, making things unequal. This is why Black men have come together and formed their own alliances and own platforms to speak out against what's happening. And I encourage everyone to do so. And unfortunately, we're going to have to separate from those of us who are not with the program, who are in favor of this demonic, satanic world that they're trying to usher in. You cannot negotiate with evil. You cannot compromise with evil. You cannot compromise or negotiate with someone who wants you exterminated on a mass level. As I'm here in Colombia and I'm looking at the poverty and I'm saying, my God, how did this not happen just in Colombia, but all of the third world countries? How did this happen? There's something bigger at work that we're not privy to. There is a global plan of extermination. And that if we don't take direct measures to circumvent this, we're not going to be here in the future. We're not going to be here in the future. We're going to go the way of the Native Americans in this country. Don't forget to hit the like button on this video. If you get a chance, please donate to the channel. So that's my message to you. You know, a friend told me, he says, though you've gotten suspended, Your message is already out there. People are seeing it. It's waking some people up. And he's right. That it's having an effect. Because we can't continue on the path that we are currently on of division, infighting, ignorance. It's not going to work. And above all, we cannot support these so-called movies, which are really just propaganda material designed for your destruction. And when I said that Black Panther 2 is akin to Nazi propaganda films, I was being kind. Because what they put in that film, Black Panther 2, is so sinister and so evil. And if you don't see it, then that tells you the depth of programming you've undergone. This is Qesankh reporting from Colombia. Until my next video, I'm in Ra.